straight time pay. What we're going to do today, we're going to calculate straight time pay and find gross income. Anybody know what gross income means? The total of your pay. All right? Gross income is your total. Now the bad thing with gross income, I had two numbers up here the other class for mine, right? The bad thing with your gross income is that really what gets sent to your bank or whatever. So to start today, or to start off, we're going to talk about gross pay and what you actually get. Now, how much money you actually make, or how much money you actually get to spend, two completely different things. All right? And we talked a little bit about last time, with our budgets and stuff. If you have a family, like Ebersole does, you get to spend even less. Because all of that's going out to health insurance and different things. I think I told you last time, mine's like $400 or $500 for my health insurance each month. I put like $50 from each pay into a college account for my sons, each one of them, so on, so on, so on. So my gross pay and what I actually get to spend, a whole lot different. I looked this up. Highest paid hourly jobs. This says 2020, so I don't know how old or new it is, whatever. You might tell me, oh, my brother just started at such and such and he's making $25 an hour. Yeah, that's great. I don't usually believe that a whole lot. When I worked at my other school, I worked at Jefferson School for a long time, and all the students over there give me a bunch of crap about, my mom works at GM. I mean, that's all I heard all the time. I don't need this crap. My mom works at GM. She had to have a high school diploma. My mom works at GM. She's going to get me on there. My dad works at GM. He's going to get me on there. They make $50 an hour. Where's GM at now? Not there. Right? Don't count on that crap. Count on this. Count on yourself. Anybody got a guess? Just some job you could go out and get. What do you think hourly pay is? Let's write some down. What's a job you might want to get? Give me something that doesn't take 75 years of school. Don't tell me you want to be a heart surgeon. Construction worker. Give me a guess. How much you think per hour? $17? Anybody agree with that? Now, is that going to be different places? Yeah. Give me another job. Mechanic. Like an auto mechanic? How about that? How many dollars an hour? 15? You guys gonna let Nathan answer every one of these? Give me another job. Subway, so I don't think my list is going to have Subway worker on there, but it'll probably have server or something like that, just a fast food or a restaurant server.
Isn't it like, it's like $5 an hour, and if you have to like share your...
I think the state changed that, didn't they?
Why is those
I can
numbers
explain that. I'm the best way. You make $5 an hour compared to
Where do you work at first?
Olive Garden.
And
Here in
in Richmond. See, and I'm not sure about Indiana and Ohio. I thought Ohio, does anybody work as a server in Ohio? And I'll let you tell it here in a second.
I do.
Where at?
Somewhat.
Just at Subway?
Yeah.
They don't pay the same, right? Because you don't get tips.
No, I get tips.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really, you're supposed to tip at Subway?
Yeah.
Hey,
You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't think I have ever put a penny in the tip.
I make
Oh my God, you
$11.
guys are horrible.
You make $11 an hour? All right, now Quentin, now go ahead and tell me.
As a busboy there, you make $5 an hour plus tips, but then if you're $5 an hour and your tips don't make at least minimum wage, they'll add it, they'll bring it up to 7, or whatever the minimum wage is.
What is minimum wage now? Anybody know that? $8.72?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
But they're working on raising.
It's something like that, and they're working on raising it. They just raised it, and they're working on raising it again. All
I
right?
didn't get it up to 50.
I think, yeah,
It says 15 is
the politicians on one side or the other want to get it up to 15. All right?
Because the
Now,
minimum wage is supposed to be the minimum amount you can be paid to live on.
Yeah, but whenever it raises, everything else is gonna raise, so it's not gonna be the minimum
Yeah,
stuff
but
that you live
I'm
on.
willing to pay an extra dollar for my cappuccino at McDonald's if it means that the server gets to live.
Not me.
What about the guy that pushes for the $15 an hour? What is he gonna do?
so what about the, see, and this is, and I tried not, I'll try to stay in the middle this whole class and not be political on one side or the other. I'll try to tell you both sides. I know there's many teachers.
Miss Martin does
And
it.
that don't name names. I didn't stop him quick enough, did I? There's many teachers in our school that will tell you exactly how they feel. Now I will every now and then I will throw Cheney under the bus because I think he deserves to be thrown under the bus every now and then. And you can tell him, hey, Ebersole threw you under the bus, said you're on the left or the right or whatever, and you're talking about this.
He's
So.
literally like directly targeted me to offend me before. I don't listen to what he says though, so it didn't work.
But with this, Matt's got a good point. If you go out and you bust your tail to make what you know, to make an actual good living and to make that extra money, and then all of a sudden they jack the minimum wage up to $15, and now you're just like Johnny down here serving at McDonald's. Who gets screwed? The guy that busted his butt. Alright? Now, and then if you say something like that, everybody should get a raise.
It's
Now
complicated.
we're
I know it's not that easy.
now we're talking Joe Biden here, and screw it all. Why do we need to work? Let's just give everybody money.
Yeah, it's not
Does
that
it work that way?
easy, but
What happens if you just start passing out money?
then the money is worthless.
It's
Even
worthless.
inflation.
It's not worth anything anymore. And that's
then
in
no
our
one's making
country.
living wages anymore.
Right. In our country, we're starting to do, and again, I'm trying not to be political, but in our country, it seems like we're starting to do more and more of that, where we're passing out money. Last year when they were, I'm probably one of the few people in the world, or in our country, that last year when they started handing out the stimulus money, I'm going, huh? Good.
We donated our
I'm going, no, don't give me no money. Because they give me money, and they also give everybody else money. I don't know those other millions of people that they gave the money to. I don't mind helping people. I do charity stuff. I give money to charity,
But you don't tip us.
New Zealand.
but I don't tip at Subway.
Yeah.
'Cause-
New Zealand did it, and their economy is just fine.
But our
My-
economy's already trash, so.
My problem is,
Never been fun.
they're giving out the stimulus money like it's just free money.
Yeah, but then you
They
have to
gave
pay it
like
off with your
$600.
taxes.
It's nothing.
They give it out, and then
You
you guys here in the next couple of years and stuff, as you go out and you get jobs and everything, who's going to end up paying all that money back? Us. All the people that actually work. And the bad thing is now, you can see it if you drive through Richmond, you drive through any decent sized town. I mean, you probably won't see it in El Dorado because there is no business in El Dorado anymore. Or, you know, West Manchester, I guess, what's West Manchester got now? They got a little, they got the dollar store. So they got one business. But when you drive through a normal town, what sign do you see up in front of almost every company? Help wanted, now hiring. If you listen to the news, nobody's working. They got the stimulus money now, and believe me, I'm lazy. I know, I'm thinking, God, if I could sit at home today and do nothing, guess where I'd be?
At home doing
I'd
nothing.
be at home doing nothing. And there's a whole lot of people now who were on that edge, fell off, and now they're sitting at home doing nothing. Because the government's helping them out so much. All right? Think about like, and you guys are probably too young for this. I was talking about GM a few minutes ago. We bailed out, the government bailed out, and I say the government, but we bailed out, me, your parents, everybody who works, because that's where the money comes from. It doesn't come from your senator's pocket. All right? It comes from the taxes that we pay. We bailed out GM, Ford, all those companies several years ago so that they wouldn't go bankrupt. All right? We gave them all this money. How did GM repay the people in our area?
Absolutely not.
Where's the GM factory at now that was in our area?
Bowling Green.
It moved away from here, it is.
A lot of problems could be solved if they were, like, millionaires were held to the same standard of tax paying as everyone else as in percentages and not just like getting.
So you,
Tax the rich.
No,
When-
seriously, they
when-
wanna like keep rich people rich.
when we get to taxes, you'll find out that your way of thinking there mathematically doesn't work.
There's a lot I don't understand, but I'm trying my best. Like, I understand that raising the minimum wage is obviously going to affect a lot of people, but at the same time, like, it's also going to let people buy food and live. Like, which one matters more? I think human lives matter more. You can disagree and think poor people should just, you know, struggle, but I don't agree. You can think whatever you want. I'm just saying I don't agree, and that's fine if you don't agree with me.
Back on your tax thing, because I'm not even going to comment on the letting people live and stuff. That's something I'm not going to comment on that. On the tax thing, does anybody know? Ebersole complains about his taxes. Do you know how much tax Ebersole actually pays?
$225.
Hardly nothing.
It's because you're a teacher.
Hardly nothing. Do you know how much tax your parents actually pay? Hardly nothing. They complain about it all the time, but it's very, very, very small amount of their actual pay. They pay very little taxes. They complain about it, but normally they get a lot of it back. And if we look at it percentage-wise, like you said, Alec, if you look at it percentage-wise, in our country, the top 2% of people who make money pay the top, it's like, they pay the top, it's like 40 or 50% of all the taxes. So 2% of all the people pay like 50% of all the taxes. And the other 98% of us pay the other 50% or something like that. It might even be worse than that. I didn't want to exaggerate it too much. I'll have to look it up to make sure. But those rich people, those million and billionaires, they pay most all of the taxes that our government collects. Because all the taxes I pay, and I pay taxes, and it bothers me every time I look at my check and say, man, I need that extra $200 this month. But at the end of the year, when I do my taxes, I get a whole lot of it back. All right, I get a real high percentage of it back.
at the end of the year when that millionaire fills out his taxes, he doesn't get all that back, or that billionaire, or that whatever. So it's if you listen to stuff and listen to the news, it's something like I said, the top 2% of all money earners in the United States pay over 50% of all the taxes that goes to run our country.
Well, the way I see it, you gotta be careful if you're gonna raise their taxes, because if you raise them too much, you run the risk of them just leaving the country, and that's not good for our economy, because that's like a decent chunk.
And not even leaving the country. All right, let's probably a lot of you watch sports. Let's talk about sports. In the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball, any of those sports, a lot of those players live in 3 or 4 states. What's one of them at? Florida. How come? What about the state income tax? Anybody know that? It is though. Florida doesn't have a state income tax. So all this crap that LeBron James gives about, oh, I love my home, I love Cleveland, I love Akron, Ohio's great. Guess where LeBron James lives? Florida. And you know why? No income tax. No income tax on all those millions of dollars that he makes.
Don't they live in Texas too?
Texas, because of what?
The house taxes or something like that, or really?
It's the same idea in Texas. Very, very low homeowners taxes and stuff like that.
Isn't it like they donate to like charities and stuff? Like,
They can get out of,
like they're doing good, they get out of like the kickbacks and stuff.
right, well, a kickback sort of got a negative kind of idea to it. They don't get kickbacks, but they get to write that stuff off of their taxes. And that's another thing. Matt goes out and he gets a job. Is he going to be able to hire some lawyer to do his taxes and stuff and say, hey, Matt, you need to donate $100,000 because that's going to balance off, then we won't have to. We're not going to be able to hire that lawyer, right? But these guys can, these millionaires can, so they get out of paying some of that. Now, again, that still goes back to the fact that they pay the highest proportion. It would be worse. So there's lots of things. Let's go, we got off track. Server. So we're going to say, what is minimum wage right now? $8, $9? Let's say $9. Just to get some idea there. Other jobs. Truck driver.
You get paid by the mile.
Sometimes.
Depending on the
Yeah,
company you work for.
Depends who you work for. A lot of companies, and I think it's starting to switch back now. A lot of companies a few years ago were hiring just the driver. You came in, you drove their truck, and they took care of all the other stuff. Now, when you see signs up for hiring truck drivers, now they say hiring private truck drivers, which means you have to come to them with your truck and drive, and you just get paid by the hour how much you work, or by the load, or by whatever. And then you got to take care of all the stuff, fixing your truck and all that stuff. How much do you think a truck driver makes per hour? Say it again. I could get it. Oh, you're asking him to tell? Somebody make a guess.
My dad was hit by a semi.
$20?
How much did he make an hour? How much did he make an hour? You get like.
What other kind of jobs? Factory job? Assembly line, something like that? How much working in a factory? 15 or 16 maybe? Alright, let's go with those. Just so that we can move on here. So highest paid hourly jobs, and again, I just looked this up. First one here, Administrative assistant. Fancy name for a what? Secretary. The bad thing with being a secretary is, again, don't run down to Cindy and say, Ebersole said, is it really all that real difficult to be the secretary here at the school? Probably not, all right? You don't see Cindy sitting back there typing all the time and got to be able to type 150 words per minute and doing all that stuff, right? She answers phones. So for some secretaries at some places, they have to have some different skills probably. So I don't know how they decided this, but some of them have to have some skills. You probably have to go get some schooling. They said the secretaries make about $19 per hour. Anybody know what median pay means?
Average pay.
Is it the average?
It's not the average, it's the middle.
Actu-
Put it all in.
And we're going to learn this. Median actually is average. You learned these terms in the past. You learned those three words, right? Mean, median, and mode, they went together. And you probably also learned range with them, which range should not be with those three. All of these are averages. Each one of them is a mathematical average. Now, your teacher probably told you that only one of these was an average, and which one wasn't. That's not actually the case. All of them are averages, right? Sometimes one average is better than the other. You guys have gotten used to the mean being the average because all you've seen so far from first grade up to right now is every teacher averages your grade by using the mean. Now, is that the best way to give an average? It depends on everything that you're doing, all right? Here, apparently, whoever wrote this article didn't think the mean was the best way. The median is the middle number. So they took the middle number, all right? And I'll explain to you why they might have taken the middle number. When I took a statistics course in college, the guy come in, the professor come in, and he said the average salary for a person graduating from North Carolina, the Tar Heels, North Carolina, with a degree in, what was it? Gotta think real hard now. Think back. It was some kind of,
What it do?
like, some kind of welfare worker or social worker, some kind of degree in social working, something like that. All right? The average salary of people who graduated from North Carolina, and it was a certain year too, it was like 1980 something. I can't remember what the year was either. The average salary of those people coming out of college and starting off was this. I think it was more than that. It's like 35.
What?
It's like $35 million per year. That was the average salary of people who graduated with this degree from North Carolina that one year. All right? Anybody have a guess why? Why?
Yeah, that's
Michael Jordan graduated from North Carolina with this degree in that year. and his first year in the NBA, he made like $70 million or something, I don't know. He didn't make that much from the NBA, but he made that much from all his shoe deals and everything else.
So they technically didn't lie?
So this was the average, this was the mean. Was that a good way to represent that?
No.
No. Because all these other people that graduated with that degree were making like $20,000 when they started off. So, you know, you got this one person making $20,000, you got another person making $25,000, and you got Michael Jordan making $70 million or whatever. You average them all together and you get something around this. Well, this time, instead of using the mean, it would have been better, a better representation to show that middle number and say, all right, if you graduate with this degree, you're probably going to make about $25,000. So that's why they probably used it here. They used the median. Now the bad thing with using the median here is you're looking at all kinds of different, you're putting our secretaries here at school in with secretaries at some great big huge business, and those secretaries have probably been secretaries for 30 years at that business and have worked their way up and, you know, might make a whole bunch of money. This one here makes me mad. I probably said something last time about my wife. I think I said my wife has had about 20 different jobs since we've been married. She started off being a dental assistant, and so she could have been making about $19 an hour right now. Financial clerk. So you go into some bank again. Is this something that you're going to have some kind of training for? Probably. Yeah. I don't think Nathan wants Owen doing his finances if Owen doesn't have any idea how to do the finances, right? Construction worker. You guys said this one, $17 an hour. Hey, that's a pretty good guess. About $17 an hour. With construction work, you can make raises and move your way up, right? What's one of the bad things with construction working though? It's hard. Hot. You don't last very long. If you work 30 years as a construction worker, you're probably, at the end, you're probably walking like this and not walking real well because you wore out your body. Right, and that's another thing with being a construction worker. And this happened, you guys are just old enough to remember Obama being in office. When President Obama was in office, he done away with with the health care and stuff. He was trying to make everybody, and we're trying to go back to that, I don't know what's going to happen. But with the health care, and he forced everybody to try to get on that, it's called something, it's actually called something else. Everybody called it Obamacare just to be jerks, but it was Affordable Health Act or something like that, right? Affordable Health Act or something, it's something like that.
Why don't we just do like Canada does and just
And that hurt people that were like construction workers and stuff, because their company said, hey, you got to get health care on Obamacare, so I really don't have to give you health care anymore. And they just cut everybody's health care.
We should have made a time.
My uncle was a construction worker.
So and when we get to health care, you'll see that health care is very, very expensive. Customer service rep. Anybody know where Colby said? Sorry. Customer service rep. Those are the people that you talk to on the phone. I wouldn't have that job. I know here in the last month or so, I've called places and cussed at them several times because I'm like, really? That's just stupid. Why in the world would I have to do that to get you to pay my bill when I'm paying you all this money in insurance? Something like that. Delivery service drivers, truck drivers. This says about $15 an hour. Seems like I see ground transport, which is outside of Eaton. I've seen their signs all over the place hiring drivers here. I don't know sure what they pay. Bad thing with $15 an hour, my uncle was a truck driver for a long time, and he had his own truck, and he'd go in and do hourly stuff. Anybody know how much a tire for a semi-truck costs? Wow. We would be over there, he'd drive for a week, and we'd be over there changing his tires, because he couldn't afford good tires. He'd buy retreaded tires all the time for like $50 or $100 each. And we'd have to go change them once a week. If you buy good tires, $700, $800, $900 a piece. And that's just the tires. That's not including gas, paying for upkeep of the truck. $15 an hour is probably not enough to do all that stuff. Bus driver, average bus driver, this says makes about $16 an hour, which probably isn't enough because they probably go nuts having to deal with you guys on the bus, right? Phlebotomist, anybody know what a phlebotomist is?
They collect blood.
Again, do I want Wes taking my blood? Probably not. I want somebody who's been trained pretty well, right?
Watch them do it like it's like, hey.
I don't care if you watched it. I don't want you to take it. I've had my blood taken many, many times in the last couple of years. You get somebody who doesn't know what they're doing,
Oh, it's miserable.
it hurts.
Yeah, because they go in there and they're like, all right, I got this vein, and they're like, oh, I missed it, pulls it back out, stops you again, and then it's like,
And your arm, and I don't bruise real well, so I haven't really had a whole lot of trouble, other than they poked me about 10 times, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This doesn't feel good. I don't mind it so much, but it doesn't feel good. I don't want you to poke me any more than you have to. My wife had to give blood a couple years ago, and she came home. Her whole arm was all bruised. It was all like one big bruise.
Lab checks are not supposed to be that bad.
What was he gonna say, Nick? Yeah, so you got to know certain things when you go in there. But again, I wouldn't want somebody who didn't have a whole bunch of training doing that to me. And I did. I went into somebody that I didn't think. I walked in there and I thought, really, you're going to take my blood? They didn't look like they had a whole lot of training.
my sister's like taking my
Factory worker, we said about $15 an hour. This said about 16 for an assembler. That's probably not too bad. I know I've seen several students leave here and go to like Kenny Penny or Neaton. And then I talk to them a month later and I say, yeah, how's Neaton going? Oh, I quit. Because you start off, that's the median. You got to work a little bit. You got to be there like 6 months, and then they start actually getting you up to that median pay
then they recognize.
to see if you're actually going to stay around, because they have such a high turnover. Okay? They're not going to give you that pay right off the bat. They're going to give it to you after 6 months, and they know that you're staying around. Medical assistant, again, another job. I don't know how this is on here, but there's a medical assistant. If I'm in the hospital or something, and that medical assistant comes in to change my IV, I sure want somebody in there that knows what they're changing it to. I don't want Caleb.
assistants know how to change an IV better than a doctor.
Well, that might be, but I don't want Caleb saying, yeah, I'm a medical assistant coming in and changing my IV, and all of a sudden, he couldn't tell, yeah, I think that's what Ebersole gets. And he puts the wrong bag up there.
And then all of a sudden, you're just
Grounds maintenance worker. So when I was in school here, I worked for Mouse Nursery that used to be down the road here, and it's closed down now. I don't know if they still have anything anywhere else or anything, but I worked for them for a long time. Anybody know anything about doing stuff like that? Is it a fun job?
No.
God, it sucks. It's hot, it's nasty, spreading mulch, picking up big rocks to build those stupid rock walls and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I had a student a couple years ago, and I worked with their dad, and their dad worked there, and we were down in Cincinnati, not quite Cincinnati, it was like Mason, the Mason area, putting up a rock wall, and of those big blocks that you see, that you build the walls out of, and the wall was supposed to be about 6 foot tall. There was a barrier wall to keep the ground from coming in on the driveway, on the parking lot. And we had to pick up these blocks, and they weighed, I don't know, they probably weighed 50 or 60 pounds. You had to pick them up, carry them, put them on the wall the correct way, go back, get another one off trailer, do that. I worked with, again, this kid I had in class, I worked with his dad and his uncle or cousin or something, I don't know. We got to lunch. I looked around. It was me, those two, and one other person that was doing all this, building this wall. This wall was probably about 600 feet long because it was on the back of a shopping mall, shopping center. I looked around. They're gone. They couldn't take it. So they started walking. They lived here. They lived just down the road from the school. They started walking home from Mason. Just because they were complaining the whole time about having to do the work. And they finally, at lunch, we're looking around, they're gone. They started walking. I guess the boss found them walking down the road. But hey, we called in, hey, they're gone, we don't know where they're at. Retail worker, so you work at Walmart or somewhere. This says about $12 an hour, is that about right? Anybody work at Walmart or one of the retail stores? 14. Bad thing with Walmart right now, aren't they changing some other rule? And because they're running a bunch of their workers off right now, aren't they? I know my wife was complaining about them doing something the other day. Yeah. They making all their workers get the vaccine or something? Are they forcing them now? Was that something that came out? I don't know. My wife said something about Walmart and janitor, $13 an hour. Bartender, we'll skip right over that. Server, now you old enough to be a bartender. This says about $11 an hour for a server plus tips. Again, I have no idea. I know I worked as a server for just a real short time in my life because I didn't like it. It sucks. Yeah, because I didn't get much in the way of tips, and people are
Cheat.
a-holes a lot of the time. So I didn't last very long. I lasted a couple of weeks, and I said, you know what, I'm finding something else, and I went out the door. So those are all things, different kind of jobs. I'm hoping that you guys get some kind of job that actually, you know, that you're happy with and stuff. But just know, when we wrote down last time, what you think you're actually going to make. Know what's actually out there and what you could make, and what's probably not going to happen. Right now might be a good time to get a job because, again, all the help wanted signs everywhere. People are paying a little bit more money. I noticed a lot of places are saying $500 sign-on bonus or $1,000 sign-on bonus. They just give you that first day you walk through the door. Like 6 months later, once they know you're going to stay around, they give you the money.
You know, I worked at Shell Facilities.
Work where?
Shell. They had we didn't have a lot of people, so they raised our pay $60 an hour.
Yeah.
Like
Go ahead and copy this down. Next set of notes. Yeah, some places will do that if they're making money. If they're not making money, they're not raising it. Again, on your notes, these are your notes, so we're going to write stuff down. I'll probably allow you to use your binder on most all tests so that you can have all the formulas and stuff right there ready to go. You don't want to write it down, don't write it down. I'm not going to argue with you all year long. We will have a lot of formulas that we have throughout the year in here. Hourly rate is your money that you make per hour. Straight time pay is the hours worked times your hourly rate. Gross income is the total money paid during a pay period. All right, that's the total money you get for that pay period, however you get paid, whether you get paid by the week, every 2 weeks, once a month, once a year, so on, so on, so on. We'll talk about all that weekly, bi-weekly, so annually, semi-annually, so on. We'll talk about all those as the year goes along. That's your gross income. Again, is that how much you're going to see? Is that how much you get to spend? No. Because you got to take a whole bunch of different things out of that. And we'll talk about all those things that come out of it. All right, get your books out, page 98. Carly, I'm going to have to run off some papers and stuff to get to you because I'm out of books. I was trying to find one earlier and couldn't find it. Caleb, you don't think Gabe will show up at all?
Mr.
I'll let you use Gabe's book.
Mr.
He'll never miss it. Get them out, find that page. We'll do some of these problems together. Supposed to fill it out online too. But I don't feel like going back there again. It's too hard with all you guys in here to walk through everything. This is your homework, but we're going to work a whole bunch of it together. Are you going to cheat? Are you going to cheat? Yeah. So you're going to have to help me because I don't have a book. Which one are we starting on? What's the problem we're starting on? Was it number 5?
I didn't get to write them down.
What was the assignment?
It was
Page 98.
5 through 39.
Page 98, 5 through 39.
And then fill out the chart for the 2 dots.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We did that, and we'll deal with that later on. So don't worry about that part, just this page. Number 5, somebody help me out. What's number 5? Is this a chart or something?
288.
What are we doing on number 5? So how many hours? 8 hours?
No, 36.
36 hours? How much are we making?
$8 an hour.
So we just multiply those two, right?
Yeah.
48, 24, $288. Everybody agree with that? You don't have a calculator yet. Is it going to be a good idea to get one here real soon?
Yes.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do this out longhand, right? So get one and start bringing it. Number 6, what's it say? Jade Lynn, you're going to help us. If we screw up, you're going to tell me, right?
18 hours work. They make $7.50.
$7.50 an hour. Somebody's got a calculator. Help us out, so I don't have to do all this longhand. All right, let's not do it using a calculator. Let's use our head a little bit. Don't tell me, Wes. 750. What's 750 times 10 hours? What do you do when you multiply a number with a decimal by 10? Bump it over one, right? So for 10 hours, it's $75. Now, is that our total answer? Now we still got 8 hours left. To do those 8 hours, this is what I do. I know that 750 plus 750 comes out to be how much? $15 even, right? So for every 2 hours, I make $15. I still need 8 more hours. So that's 15, another 15, another 15, and another 15. If I don't have a calculator, could I add all those up? What's 15 and 15? 30. 30. What's 30 and 30? 60 plus 75. Is that the correct answer? Is that right? Number 7, what's it say?
30 hours work. And this way 16.
That sucks, doesn't it? They start doing stuff like this to us. 1620. Now, the one nice thing they did do, if we have to do this out longhand, 30 hours. Do I have to write the 30, like right there? I could put the 0 out here. You ever seen? Yeah, where's my finger? You ever seen anybody do that? Put the 0 out there, and then you can just bring that 0 down and do the math. What's 3 times 0? 3 times 2? 6. 3 times 6? Do it. Think of the cartoon. 3, 6, 9, 12. I know you guys still watch Saturday morning cartoons. And at the end, it's the football player running through the wall, right? 30. 18. 3 times 1. 3 plus 1. We had 2 decimal places, so we move it over 2. $486. Is that right? I can see all of you just loving me doing this out longhand. What are you going to get in the next couple of days? A calculator. If you don't have a calculator when we take the first test, you won't pass it, and I won't care. Should have recorded that part of it. Number 4, or number 8, sorry, what's it say?
24.5 hours and they make 10.5.
They just had to make it hard, didn't it? Am I going to be able to do this one in my head? Probably not. I could do this. What's 10 times 24.5? If I left that part off. What's 10 times 24.5? What do you do when you're multiplying by 10? Bump the decimal 1 place to the right. So that comes out to 245, right? So we know our answer's somewhere around 245, but that's not the exact answer. Somebody's got a calculator, help us all out. 24.5 times 10.25. $251 and what? 0.125? Oh, that's not going to work. Because this is what we're getting paid. What are we going to do there? Round. Here's where you got to be careful. This is what we're getting paid, right? So we work for Nathan, and he's paying us. What's he going to pay us? So Mac tells us that when we have this 5 here, we do what? We go up. Nathan's math tells him, this is my money. I'm going to not round down, I'm just going to get rid of that and pay them the 12 cents. Because Noah, is Noah going to know that Nathan cheated him out of a penny? And if he does, is he really going to care? Probably not. But Nathan owns the business, and he cheated Noah out of a penny, then he cheated Matt out of a penny, then he cheated Quentin out of a penny, then he cheated Adam out of a penny because they all work for him by just rounding it off there. After a while, is that going to make a difference for Nathan? Yeah, he's going to have more money in his pocket, but you guys won't even notice it. All right? Places like Walmart, I'm giving you a second to get all this, Lane. Places like Walmart do stuff like this. You go in there, and I know this is showing my age, you go into Walmart, and it used to be you could buy loaves of bread 3 for $1. 3 for $1, not $100. That's about what it is now, $100. No, I'm just kidding. 3 for $1. How much is it if loaves of bread are 3 for $1? How much is each loaf?
33 cents or so.
0.333, and it just keeps going, right? Guess what Walmart does with that? Even though our math tells us that we should do what? Does this 3 tell us to go up or leave it the same? Leave it the same. Guess what Walmart or any other store does? They round it up. Because they're going to get that extra penny. Now, does it matter to Ben that they took his extra penny? Is he going to look at it and go, 34 cents? Should have been 33 cents. Don't you guys know how to do math?
Some people will do that.
Some will. And those are the ones you hate to get behind in line, right? Because
Just
they're...
buy 3 and get a discount.
So, you're probably not going to do that. You're probably not going to get mad about it. But they get the extra penny. How many loaves of bread do you think they sell in a week? A whole bunch. Yes. No. Yeah, he's not. Thank you. All right. Caleb, you better tell Gabe to work it out with his grandma. They call everybody if you're absent. Well, I see that. So if he's gonna wait somewhere until my class is over, you might want to explain that to his grandma so that there's not a discrepancy there. Number 9. Somebody help me out with number 9. Sorry, we wasted a lot of time here. We should be almost done with this assignment. What are we going to do with those 2 numbers? Multiply them. Somebody do it for us. Somebody want a calculator so they can help us out? Because I have one right here. Number 9. $452.09. Is everybody understanding how we're getting all this? Jay Lynn, we haven't missed any yet, have we? $452.09. Number 10. from now. Number 10. Make the calculator feel like you like it, Caleb. Don't just let it lay there,
Talk to it, caress it.
laying there crying. Caleb doesn't like me. He won't push my buttons.
What are we waiting on?
You can do
What the
this.
answer? $683.54.
It's going to happen when Wes, who has a calculator, gets tired of giving you the rest of you guys' answers.
We beat them up. Somebody else needs to say.
That's when they start paying me.
That was all 55.
55 cents. Now this is one of them that probably, and the book differs from what I say on this. The book says, oh, they're going to round up because that's the way math does it. Again, we go back to Nathan. Is he going to round up?
Nope.
Probably not. You always got to think, whoever's doing the rounding is going to do the rounding in their favor, right? Walmart's going to do it in their favor. They're going to round up all the time. They're going to round up to that next penny every single time. If I'm paying out money to my workers, I'm probably going to cut it off at that last penny because they're not going to know the difference. So it could be 55 here. If you put either one of those two answers, I probably wouldn't throw a big fit. Number 11. Same kind of problem.
The straight line thing is there, but the hour, the regular hour.
Ah, so number 11, instead of multiplying, what are we going to have to do? So we got, what is our pay? Say it again.
$937 minus
How many cents?
50.
50 cents. And what else do they tell us?
Our hours worked is 37.
37.5. We work 37 and a half hours. So how are we going to figure out how much we make or how much we earn per hour? Take that and divide it by 37.5. What's that give us? 25?
My God.
Got 25. Anybody else get 25?
Yeah, I also.
Does it make sense that we made $25 per hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sensible. Maybe, you know, we got a decent job. That's another thing. Always make sure that your answer makes sense. Had somebody last year come in and they were trying to figure out if the school was paying them because they worked for the school some, and the school was paying them. And they said, Mr. Ebersole, I think the school's ripping me off because I figured out that I should have made, and they worked like 10 hours or something, all right? I figured out that I should have made, and I'm making up stuff here, $1,500. Does that make sense? The school's going to pay them
No.
$1,500 for 10 hours of work. So make sure that your answer makes sense. You got some kind of sense about it. All right? Okay. I don't know. We're getting ready to find out right here in a second. Number 12. Number 12 a little different also.
It has the regular hour and the straight pay.
So it's got the hourly rate and the straight time pay. How much did we make total? $630. And then they told us we're going to divide again, aren't we? They told us that we make how much per hour? $17.50. So we're going to divide $17.50 into this, and that should tell us how many hours that we actually work. How many hours? 36? Anybody else get 36 hours? Yes, no, maybe? Colby, is that what you got? Yeah. I seen you write it down there right after I did. Next one, different kind of problem also. What's it give us? So, same idea as that one. So we're dividing again. What was the hourly rate? $17.50 again?
Wait, no, 26.
26 what?
5, 6, 7.
That's our
Hourly.
26.567. Most companies don't go out that far. How much total did we make?
$664.75.
75?
It says 175.
Oh, 1.175? Again, our money, something I need to say right up front, Quentin. If I ask you if we're doing a test or quiz, and you give me an answer, and on your calculator it tells you this, 25.137,
Just take that one and add it.
you write that down as your answer, I'm marking it wrong. Because in our money system, we know we only go out how many places. So if you're dealing with money, and you go out 3 places, Ebersole's marking it wrong. No matter what, all right? If you're dealing with money, you go out 2 places, no more. So I will accept this answer. I will accept this answer. I will not accept that answer. So make sure that when we're dealing with money, you round it off 2. What'd the answer come out to for 13? Say it again. 25? Anybody else get that? Yes, no, maybe?
What is it?
13?
Yeah.
The $25 or 25 hours?
Hours.
Hours. So we work 25 hours. 14. Last one in this box, right?
Yeah.
This time they give us
Hours worked in straight time.
the hours and the pay. How much pay was it? $3.20?
$390.26. Yes.
And how many hours did we work?
40.
Somebody help us out. First of all, before you divide that, $390 a week. That seem all right? I don't know. Maybe to you guys, because you probably, if you work 40 hours a week, $390, think, hey, I got $390. But to me, probably not. $9.75. $9.75 per hour is pretty close to that $10 per hour. And I heard a lot of students last year, I make $10 an hour. Like they were thrilled to death that they made $10 an hour. And all I could think is, yeah, you make $10 an hour right now, and that's fine, but you don't have a whole lot of bills. $10 an hour isn't going to cover much. When you get out, mom or dad gets sick of seeing you around, and they say, get out of my house. Next ones, now some word problems. 15, what's 15 say?
If you earn $8.50 per hour and work 30 hours this week, what's your straight time pay?
850, and we work 30 hours, so what are we going to do with those two numbers?
Multiply.
Just multiply. 850 times 30. $255 even. Ignore that stray mark going up through there. Problem 16, another word problem, isn't it? What's it say?
Local auto billing company pays you $12.75 per hour. Last summer you were 25 hours a week. What was your total straight time pay for 1 week?
How much did we make per week?
$49.43.
449? 33 cents? 43 cents? Everybody agree with that? 17. Ben, you think you can handle these? Think you can handle these? Let's do 17, then I'm done. You can do the rest on your own, David. Don't even give me those puppy dog eyes. It's not gonna work. Do the rest of them on your own.
35 hours.
See, do that with every other teacher. Look at them, look.
Yep.
They feel sorry for him. Somebody just give me the answer to 17. I don't care.
$975.
Even?
$975.
$975. Even? Anybody else agree with that?